It's back. Leaves gleefully dance and wait for your attention. Winds howl a bit louder. Cooler air makes you breathe easier after the golden summer heat. It's fall, y'all. The Upper Peninsula has 4 distinct seasons. Right now, we're falling into the one that feels the shortest to me, autumn, otherwise known as Burr season, because you've got September, October, and November. Weather that makes you say Burr, also known as sweater weather, Han Solo season, and pumpkin spice everything. I'm Erin Stasek, your morning weather forecaster on My UP News. I help wake you up and plan your day, work to keep you safe with accurate forecasts, and prepare you for impactful weather. I also strive to get us to do what Mom always said, go play outside. Carve out the next 30 minutes as we're reflecting on the yummy goodness of the Upper Peninsula this time of the year. We're going to rake through the past autumns, highlight safety tips, and of course chase those awesome leaf colors, the reasons why Upers are grateful for the season. We're starting with a look at how seasons are tracked. First, the 4 total is split in half, so that means we have 2 equinoxes and 2 solstices. Breaking down the word equinox, fans of Latin may know that equinox is from aquus, meaning equal, and nox, meaning night. So vernal spring and autumnal fall equinoxes have nearly equal day and night because the Earth's axis is nearly balanced. So it's not tilted away like it does in the winter and not towards the sun like it does in the summer. We have 2 options of tracking the seasons, meteorologically and astronomically. One is a little easier than the other. Let's take a look. Astronomical seasons are based on the positions of the sun and earth, while meteorological seasons are based on trios of months. So you might not realize it, but most of us follow the astronomical seasons, where the start dates are always changing. But if you like consistency, the meteorological way may be for you. Months are in groups of 3, and the first of the first month in that group is the start date for the season. So winter officially starts December 1st, spring March 1st, summer June 1st, and finally fall. It started actually on September 1st. Now why is that? Because the annual temperature cycle. So those warmer months of June and July and August are grouped together, coldest in December, January, and February, allowing meteorologists and climatologists to record weather patterns and forecast with a consistent start date for each season.
Our sunset times will be getting earlier during the month of October, and our average high temperatures, daytime highs that is, will be continuing to cool on off. Sunset times through the month of October. On October 1st, 7:30 p.m. is our sunset time on October 1st, and as you see, it's going to continue to get earlier and earlier. October 16th, our last 7 o'clock or later sunset, and then October 31st, Halloween night, 7:36 Eastern is our sunset, and then when the clocks go back 1 hour on Sunday, November 2nd, our sunset that evening is at 5:33. Our average high temperatures through the month of October, along with the less and less daylight, will continue to cool on off. On October 1st, our daytime average high is 59, but check out the end of the month of October. It cools off to 44 degrees. But for those of you holding out hope for warmer weather to continue in October, look at October 2024. You can see temperatures relatively milder, even warmer. A couple of warmer days in here, a couple of Saturdays in here where we had temperatures right around 70 on October 12th and October 19th. And in fact, October 19th was the start of above average temperatures, well above average temperatures from that Saturday all the way to that Tuesday.
Now on to the natural fireworks. We're leaving those summer colors and seeing the fall explosion of fiery reds, burnt oranges, and blazing yellow foliage. It's a chemical romance that makes those trees pop. All leaves contain these pigments that play different roles in its lifetime. In the spring and summer, chlorophyll absorbs sunlight, transforms it into food, and basically gives off that green shine. We all know that fall means cooler temperatures, which indeed affects the tree leaves. But it's also the time of the year when sunlight isn't as bright as the warmer months and the amount of daylight decreases. This in turn makes chlorophyll break down, so the green fades, allowing the other pigments to really pop. Best conditions for brighter colors are when it's dry at the end of summer and autumn is mainly sunny with cool nights. Jumping in leaf piles can be an absolute blast, but do you know how much those leaves weigh? Well, an oak tree has about 200,000 leaves. That's 300 dry leaves in 1 pound. So around 550 pounds on one tree. Now, if the leaves are wet, you need to multiply that weight by 4. Now, as kids, my brother and I had to rake the leaves in my parents' yard, and they had lots of maple trees, which have similar numbers to an oak tree here. But they had 25 maples in the front yard and 25 in the back. So if my calculations are correct, that means we raked 27,500 pounds of leaves every year. Oofta. When did those leaves change across the country? Higher elevations see peak times in late September while the south is late November. So if we zoom in on where we live, following along the timeline, a few colors start popping in late August and early September. Our peak times vary in each region of the UP and depend on the weather conditions. Overall though, late September and early October is the best time frame. Next up, the fun part, sightseeing. Now, keys for a successful adventure include a plan, map, waterproof gear, water and food, a good camera, charged phone, and definitely being mindful of the forecast. Compare the general weather of the 3 fall months. Our warmest temps are not surprisingly in September with a normal high of 66, and the main weather impact is rain. Soggier weather is in October with rain and some snow showers, plus a cooler high norm of 52 degrees. But in November, that's definitely the chilliest and snowiest, where we'll average around 37 for those normal highs and see more snow than rain. While you plan your fall sightseeing trip, we're taking a quick break, but when we return, I'll look at historic falls and storms. In the Upper Peninsula, there are seasons for and all: winter, spring, summer, and fall. This is when we sport the orange flannel, sip cozy drinks, light warm candles, and spice ourselves in pumpkins. The weather is moody and the leaves are popping. Every year it's an impressive display. Since I said year, that means we need to set the time machine to fall 2024. Let's reflect on what weather conditions we experienced. September and October rain accumulations at the National Weather Service climate stations were way below normal. Typically in September, the National Weather Service gets 3.96 inches, but last year it only made it to 1.07 inches on the rain gauge. A few cities set their lowest records to date. Marquette and Manistee hit at least an inch or close to it. Ironwood, Iron Mountain, and Stambo were around half that total. The spookiest month of the year receives a mix of rain and that white fluffy stuff. Normal rainfall in October is around 4 inches, but the data is just short of that, sitting down at 3.39 inches. The National Weather Service station in Negaunee and Stambo were only hitting around 80% of their normal amounts. NWS splashed in with 3.39 inches and Stambo had 2.22. In the cold November, rain poured down so much that the National Weather Service climate station saw 200+% increases. Munising had its wettest November with a grand total of 8.28 inches. Other soggy spots included NWS and Negaunee with a slight bump over 7 inches. Manistee also marked its second wettest November at 5.82 inches. Yes, that white fluffy stuff floated down too. It was polite and light for the majority of us unless you live in the snow belts. What seemed like non-stop lake effect snow showed a lot of love to Munising and the east half. NWS in Negaunee normally tallies 24 inches of snow and set a record not too long ago in 2014 for a grand total of 53 inches. While winter is what many Upers prepare for year-round, fall is truly special and sometimes just as wild as the snowy season. The Great Lakes greatly impact our weather and economy. Materials like iron ore are still shipped on the fresh, salt-free waters. The marine industry is also at the mercy of Mother Nature. Storms during the fall can be deadly, especially on the Great Lakes. We're talking strong winds, big waves, and lake effect rain.
Under low pressure, air particles are farther apart, which can mean hot, wet, and often bad weather. When low pressure systems take a trip to the Great Lakes, they're given a warm welcome. The freshwater's temperatures are balmy. That factor, blending with Arctic air masses and low pressure systems, make for perfect and potentially tragic storms with massive waves. Lake Superior is the greatest Great Lake when it comes to wave heights. Regardless of the wind, Superior's waves can stretch up to 26 feet. Keep in mind, rare peak waves can be double that. This navigates us to one of the most famous Lake Superior storms back in November of 1975 with the Edmund Fitzgerald. How did the Edmund Fitzgerald go from floating above to sinking below and becoming Lake Superior wreckage? That final voyage on Lake Superior started in Duluth on November 9th and tragically ended off Whitefish Point on the 10th. On this map, we're following the yellow boxes on the right side of the screen. A low-pressure system over central Kansas crossed into Iowa, then anchored quickly as it traveled into the Upper Peninsula. The storm showed up in the morning in Marquette on November 10th. After that, it headed northeast over Lake Superior. Due to these intense conditions, no distress signal was ever sent. Before the wreck, wind speeds were between 30 and 45 knots. Those climbed to 50 knots during the storm as waves were between 16 and 18 feet. Remember those rare peak waves? At the height of the storm, the waves may have been 24 feet or even 36 feet high. The Coast Guard's top 3 reasons for the sinking: Fitzy was a low-sitting ship, allowing for lots of water to keep pouring onto the deck, flooding it. Hatch covers were loose, so the cargo area took on more water. The hull was damaged from the possible Caribou Island grounding, meaning even more water. Taking a look at a more recent storm, here's meteorologist Tom Kippen.
We can get some really strong storms in the month of October, and one that is just in the recent memory is the October 24th, 2017 storm, and this is the same storm that really messed up picnic rocks in the city of Marquette. So here's how that all set on up. We had an original area of low pressure go through the arrowhead of Minnesota and into northern Ontario, but this is the area of low pressure you see here in southern Lake Michigan that really gained strength and strengthened as it moved into central lower Michigan the morning of the 24th, and then moved directly northward towards Sault Ste. Marie on that afternoon of October 24th. And as that storm strengthened, the pressure lowered on that storm, and that created very strong winds across the UP. And in fact, we did have some lakeshore flooding along the Lake Superior shoreline.
During this commercial break, we'll harbor the ship and set a course for fall safety. Typically, winter grabs our seasonal attention around here. There's snow, ice, and wind chills to battle. Don't forget about autumn's impactful elements too: rain, waves, and wind. Driving becomes tricky with the rain, but what happens when wet leaves are on the road? We're talking about how to stay safe in fall, especially while driving and playing in the water. It's not super fun to focus on, yet the reality is that weather can cause fatalities. In 2018, the top element impacting people: heat, with 108 deaths. It also took the top spot over the 10 and 30-year averages. There's not a lot of hot days in the fall, but we do have some flooding and a few tornadoes. Both also rank high on the lists. Another factor that affects our area: rip current related tragedies. We'll focus first on what to do when the roads are wet. Driving in the fall has basically 3 road conditions: dry,
wet, and wet leaves. Let's say 3 cars are driving along in those 3 conditions where the speed limit is 40 miles an hour. Then whoa, you gotta stop fast. Everyone hits the brakes at the same time, but watch how long it takes each car to come to a complete stop. That blue vehicle on the dry road can stop after about 80 feet. Next to it on the wet road, it'll take double that with a stopping distance of 160 feet. How long until the red car on the wet leaves can fully rest? A whopping 250 feet. So please, if there are wet roads or wet leaves on the road, take it easy and slow down. We're going to focus now on just those wet roads. Most drivers are not strangers to sliding around on the road when there's water on it. Let's get familiar with how hydroplaning happens and how you can possibly avoid it. Comparing 2 vehicles at 2 different speeds, 40 miles an hour and 65 miles an hour. Now 40 is our safer speed in this wet weather because tires can funnel out the water, allowing the tire to be in total contact with the road. At 65 miles an hour, the tread grooves cannot keep up with the water, which causes that tire to lose contact with the ground, and now you're water skiing in your car on the road. Factors that increase your risks include speeds over 45 miles an hour, low tire tread depth, ponding or deeper water on the road, tire pressure is either too high or too low, and having larger tire width. Up next, water on the lake. Now our Great Lakes can get quite gnarly, and yes, we do have surfers who like to hang out in those crazy waves and conditions. But do you know what to do if there's a rip current? Well, take a look. Here's what we see with a rip current. It looks super calm against those other waves that are out there. Now swim safety, if you get caught in a rip current, which like I said, we do have surfers that hang out in the fall and other swimmers. So if you get caught in a rip current, don't fight it. You want to swim parallel to shore, and if you get stuck in it, keep calm and float or tread on water till you can catch your breath. Also, call or wave for help. Coming up, a quick recap with fun facts and fall predictions. Before we say goodbye, we're brushing over a few fall fun facts. Fall and spring have a practically equal split of daylight and darkness. The Earth is tilted in that sweet balance spot where the sun focuses on the equator. Those 12 hours of even day and night times technically happen a few days leading up to and following the equinoxes. It's not a magic trick, but it is kind of an illusion. The sun's light is refracted or bent, making it look like the sun is above the horizon. However, that big ball in the sky is actually below the horizon. Higher latitude locations get bonus minutes due to the sun taking its sweet time to rise and set. For the birds, peak bird migration is the beginning of the fall season, September 6th through October 6th, or around that area. 2/3 of songbirds travel at night, so lights on during the witching hours of 11 p.m. to 6 a.m. only confuse our feathered friends. Help them out by turning off your porch or deck lights, or use warm yellow and red lights and install sensors. Meteor showers. After you've turned off the outside lights to support the birds, let your eyes feast on a beautiful shower, the Orionids. These space ice and dust particles that shower down into our atmosphere are active from October 2nd to November 12th, but their most spectacular moment, October 22nd into the 23rd. You can best spot the Orionid meteor shower north of Orion's bright star, Betelgeuse. Just don't say it 3 times. Leaves from space. Tree colors are best viewed in person or here on Earth, but did you know you can see some leaf color changes from space? Save your money, don't buy a rocket, just use your fingers and check out the images that are free to see at Earth Observatory on NASA's website. Pumpkin everything. They're gorgeous to see and consume. Rewind to July because that's when the quintessential iconic fall fruit
is planted. Over 1 billion pounds of pumpkins, which Americans festively fork over millions of dollars to utilize. We've reviewed what's happened in previous Upper Peninsula autumn seasons. It's time to look ahead. Unfortunately, there's no crystal ball. What we definitely know is weather be changing always. Here's what we could see for fall. The Farmer's Almanac says it'll be cool, while the National Weather Service is leaning a little on the warm side of the spectrum, but still saying it could be cool as well. Precipitation predictions are dry for the Farmer's Almanac, but NWS is again giving equal chances for either below, near, or above normal. According to the National Weather Service, temperatures are leaning above normal. Precipitation is about equal across the board, above, near, or below normal. If the soil is soggy, we can have cooler temperatures and maybe more rain. If the soil is dry, it's the opposite. At the end of August this year, the east half of the UP had a good amount of soil moisture, ranking in the 70 to 100 percentile. The west half was about average in the 50 percentile. On that note, there is a La Nina watch over these next months. In our Great Lakes area, La Nina winters are usually above normal precipitation. To recap, the National Weather Service predicts that seasonal temperatures and precipitation have equal chances to be either above, near, or below normal. What we do know is that our highs usually start in the 60s, then decrease into the 30s as we get into November. Rain and snow host fall parties together. However, we typically accumulate less rain and more snow. We'll just have to wait and see what happens. Right now, it's time for a change with your clocks. One last reminder, daylight saving is ending in November. On the second Sunday, we set those clocks back 1 hour. If you'd rather not wake up to do that at 2 a.m., don't. Set it Saturday night before you go to bed, or wait until after that extra hour of sleep on Sunday. This is also a really good time to check those safety detectors for smoke and carbon monoxide. I like to simply replace the batteries using the old ones for remote controls. So update the clocks and detectors on Sunday, November 2nd. Enjoy the splendor of fall now, my friends. The Upper Peninsula ground will get a chilly snow blanket soon, and we've got you covered with all things winter. Until then, delight in the color fall UP. I'm Erin Stasek. Thanks for joining us.